Alright guys. Welcome back to the pod, back to Tomboy Official. Got an interesting one today because, I've had experiences lately. I mean, you guys heard a little bit about it from the weekend. It was San Diego Black Pride weekend. And I was there with some friends and met some people who I hadn't known before, and we were kind of like just enjoying, and I literally saw, just right now, I'm sitting at the beach in the car just by this walking path. I literally saw two ladies, probably middle-aged ladies. They look Pacific Islander, holding hands, walking. It's so sweet to see. So nice to see. Part of me almost wants to take a picture. Like, not in a weird, like, pervy way, but just kind of like, it's just cute. It's nice to see, it's like, it's the neighborhood I kind of live in, and so, like, I don't live, like, right by this beach, but it's the closest one to me, and so it's nice to see that, like, other people can feel comfortable being themselves around here. It's just nice to see. It gives me kind of, like, hope of, like, okay, like, if I wanted to take a date over here, it might not be, like, such a bad vibe. But you really never know. It's hard to really judge like that, but yeah, I kind of wanted to talk about some things that came to mind that I don't really know. I'm kind of like, I think I have a conclusion, but just to talk about, gender related stuff, dating, gender, LGBT topics, and yeah, so just to discuss that kind of thing. So when it comes to dating different genders, I think people kind of know where I stand on that ultimately I'm attracted to who I'm attracted to. Like, I would say I do just naturally gravitate towards more, like, androgynous looking people. Kind of more, like, people who aren't, like, super masc or femme, on a lot of different levels. Just because, I think maybe because I feel like it's more relatable, maybe, like, because, like, I'm not, I don't consider myself very feminine, but I don't say I'm not feminine. Like, I think definitely there's a lot of aspects of my personality and even my clothing choices. Like, I feel like the way I dress is still, like, I'm wearing, like, I can't even remember if the shoes I have trail running sneakers. I can't even tell if they're men's or women's shoes. Let me see. What does it say? I forgot what they are. They weren't cheap, but I keep my shoes for, like, quite a few years. They're Adidas. They are Terex. Let me look that up. Adidas Terex. Let's see. Adidas Terex. Oops. I think my phone's overheating. Some say men's. I don't know. the colors I have are like blue with like neon kind of yellowish green and some little pink accents. They kind of look a little feminine. It's got a really wide toe box, that's why I really like them. They were hard to kind of break in, like, man. But also I was very sedentary, so, you know, they're built to be durable, so if you're not really moving, they're not really gonna break in that easily. Dang. Let me look at the women's. I can't see. Actually, let me look at the size. Because if it's like a size 8, that means they're women's. Because size 8 in men's is way too crazy. 8.5. So yeah, these are women's. Because 8.5 in men's are like, I'll swim in them. But yeah, so they're women's. And, you know, I like the colors. I like the bright colors on them. They're white, basically, but with the blue. Like I said, blue, neon, yellowish green, and a little bit of pink. So yeah, I kind of assumed they were women's because they kind of look like women's, but I think they could go either way. Like, there's a lot of guys' shoes that have like pink and stuff on them, but I like them. I like the colors. And sometimes when I wear darker stuff, I like to wear stuff with like pink and things, like bright colors. I like bright colors. I'm wearing like board shorts, my Vissel board shorts. They're mostly light blue with a little bit of dark blue and white. I've got this t-shirt. It's like an old t-shirt now. It's like a men's print, like it's got like a floral print t-shirt. It's not a button up or anything, or button down. It's a t-shirt. And one of my LA caps fitted, and just classic like athletic socks without any designs. These are pretty much plain black Hanes, say Hanes X something, I don't know, but yeah, I'm just kind of dressed the way I'm dressed. But the colors I'm wearing, there's a lot of neons and bright blues and, you know, bright colors. I don't think most guys wear this much like bright pink and stuff. Like the shirt I have has like flowers that are kind of red, but they're kind of pink. They seem kind of pink because like the background of the shirt is white. So they are technically, I think they are technically red or like a really, really dark pink. But yeah, I do kind of find people that I meet, you know, who are more androgynous to, maybe I feel like they might be kind of more so I don't know if I'm going to change this title. I titled it Gender and Club Etiquette, but I don't really know if that's what I'm trying to talk about. So basically, I'll talk about the conclusion that I came to last night from a slight interaction on Saturday that I found to be a good interaction. So I talked about it a little bit twice already, but there's more details to it that I didn't really want to talk about outside of here. I was like, let me save this special for this podcast. So yeah, how do I want to talk about this? I came to the conclusion that what I talked about before in the daily episode, that, you know, I'm a sensitive person, I'm a shy person. I can be a little, like, you know, outgoing, and, you know, I'm pretty social. I like to be around people on a regular basis, like make plans. It would be nice to be able to make plans every weekend, solid plans. Like, I technically could if I was in San Diego, but it's like in LA to make plans every weekend. I don't really have anyone locally who's really gonna do that. Like, not like the same people. I could probably make plans with different people every weekend, But it's just a lot out here for me. It's a lot. Like, I'm trying not to spend a lot of money, and every time I go out, like, I'm driving this old car, and like there's all these different variables that, like, I'm kind of trying to save to go and do more like solid trips with tickets and stuff like that versus going out every weekend. So I have been staying in a lot more weekends and just do something like go to the gym or whatever, like something that's like it's already paid for. Um, but um, yeah, like, so, someone nicely approached me during a Latin music song, so they kind of offered a hand. And okay, so I'm stoned, I'm at this gay club event, and you know um, there's a dude who I know who is trans, who I know is, in the friend circle, a trans guy who's dating a female friend. Um, and there's another person who I think of all the people in the group, that person, when they came in, I kind of didn't introduce myself to them or talk to them at all. And I kind of missed the little window, the little window before it gets awkward, before you have to like walk over and like introduce yourself. It's like like there were already like probably 8 or 10 of us there or something like that. And so when this person came over, like, maybe I waved and smiled, I don't really know, but they came kind of over, and I was like, you know, like, yeah, they didn't really come talk to me. I think they came with this other lady that I met one other time, and she sat down and was kind of like, yeah, we met before, kind of thing. And then, but this other person, we had never met, but they just came in kind of together. Like, we're all just like outside on this patio at a table, so it wasn't really like any kind of problem. So we just kind of noticed. It's not any kind of problem. Let's just be chill. So that's kind of all that happened. And then, like, earlier, and then, we go inside and we're kind of all dancing. And I start realizing, I'm like, whoa, I'm really stoned. So, like, I'm kind of like upper body dancing. I'm not really moving my feet much. I'm just kind of like nodding my head to the music and like vibing to the music and like a little bit of arm movements, but I'm just kind of chilling. I'm not really like sidestepping or anything. I'm just kind of like maybe like tapping my foot, kind of, but like vibing to the music. I wasn't just standing completely still, but I was definitely enjoying myself. And then, because I was pretty stoned, and this is like hours on end. We're there just like dancing and dancing and dancing. In some of the group goes outside, some of the group goes into the other room, so we kind of just kept like dancing. And after a while, there's a point where this drag event ends. We stop dancing in the one room and go to the other smaller room, because whatever was going on after the drag event, like, I think the music kind of fizzled, or it was like maybe not really everybody's vibe, and it sounded like maybe there was more of a turn up in the other room. Those DJs in the small front room had been on, I think they said 5 hours. So at this point, I don't know what time it was, but I guess maybe 8 p.m. or so, because maybe they had been on, or maybe 4 p.m., maybe they had been on from the very beginning, because I think it opened at 3, but I don't know who was DJing at 3. It felt like it was closer to 9, but I don't know, maybe it was like 8, because it was dark. Like, there was no blue in the sky outside when those DJs left. And so those DJs left, and the next DJ came on, and the trans dude comes over. He asked me, do you like this DJ? And I was like, I don't know, like I haven't really heard anything yet, And then he was kind of like, oh yeah, like, it's they're really good, kind of thing. And I was like, okay, cool, And then, he's drunk, and I'm, you know, stoned. So I'm kind of like, okay, that was kind of like, I was kind of like, okay, why are they kind of like, not being aggressive, but why are they being kind of like that way? And, throughout the night, that same dude, because we hadn't really talked. Me and the trans guy hadn't talked. So I'm not, this situation that I'm thinking about isn't really about the trans guy. It's about this other, like, androgynous looking person. But the trans dude, we've met before, but not too often. So, we've probably been in the same space like 6, 7 times maybe, because this person is friends with the person who usually plans everything. They were friends first, and like, yeah, I think I met this person like last summer, I think, or maybe before, yeah, maybe around last summer. And so a lot has changed since then. And yeah, like, so we've seen each other a lot. It's not like we don't see each other. It's not like we don't know one another. But yeah, they can't, when we were like outside, they kind of came and sat next to me, kind of like they were sitting next to me, kind of like it was like a round table, and we were both sitting at like, not really side by side, but almost like across from the table from each other. But because we were at the end of the table, we were kind of sitting technically right next to each other. There was nobody next to us. And I had, the lady who said she had remembered me from before, she turned a little bit, and then I turned a little bit, because there were like 3 people between me and the trans dude who sat down, that were kind of standing. The 3 of them were standing up, and so it's me, the 3 of them standing up, and then he is on the other side. And so they're kind of like having their little conversation, but I wanted to kind of turn my seat, so that it was kind of more of a circle versus like me facing the table. Then there would have been people kind of like behind me. So I kind of put my seat like that, and then I see him sitting there, and he's not really talking to anybody. And in my head, I'm like, okay, like, say something, say hi, say something, and because I was like, I want to kind of challenge myself to like talk to people that I don't usually talk to. And this is a person that I've seen like 6, 7 times by now. And so I'm like, okay, either both of us can like sit here and completely not talk to anybody because everyone else was talking to people, or I can just be like, hey, what's up, kind of catch up, like, so I was kind of like, what have you been up to lately and stuff like that. And we're trying to talk, they kind of explain what they've been doing, what they've been up to. I kind of explained what I've been doing, what I've been up to. But I could tell they kind of didn't understand fully what I said. But it's okay. It's like, we're outside. There's loud music. So I never really expect people to fully understand what I'm saying. And that's already a problem. And then, like, they were already drinking. And so I'm like, okay, you're already drinking. And it's fine. I'm not judging people that they were drinking. Like, I was stoned out my ass like the whole time. So, I just preferred that, and I had like half a Corona before I went over there, and that was enough for me. I was like, let me just see where this takes me. Like, I did have an Angry Orchard, like a full one, sometime after the point where we were outside on the patio, while we were dancing inside. But yeah, so basically we go in eventually, there's all this, the drag show, the dancing. There's a point where, once those main DJs went off, and then another DJ came on, and the trans dude asked me, like, what do I think of this DJ? And, it's kind of like, when I'm stoned and there's music, I'm vibing, like, to the music. I'm not trying to have conversations. Like, I don't mind it, but it's like, my mind is not all there. Like, I'm not interacting in the way that I normally would, especially because there's so much extra stimulation and distraction, and I get, like, deep, like, mentally and, like, physically, maybe even somewhat emotionally connected to, like, the music when somebody starts talking to me, it kind of shifts my attention to them, and it's like I'm like, oh, it kind of, I get kind of like taken aback by it, and I'm like, okay, it kind of shifts my attention a little bit, and so I kind of realize, okay, like my attention is a little shifted to talk about them. I mean, my attention's a little bit shifted, and so because it's a little bit shifted, um, and I'm not fully like all there. I know that the ways, like my mannerisms, my body language, my tone, is not normally how I would like express exactly what I'm trying to say. And so I could tell that, like, I kind of say things, like without a lot of explanation. So when I was saying like I don't really know, I didn't mean like, oh, I don't know, like kind of implying that I don't like it. I was just kind of like, the DJ had just started, so I was kind of like, I want to wait to see what kind of songs they're dropping and how the drops sound, and like, let me wait like one or two songs in and see kind of like if I like what they're doing. Because it was like, when DJs first start, a lot of times they don't just like bring it, like they kind of ease you into the set. And so like the first drop in the first song hadn't even happened. There hadn't been any mixing, nothing had happened at this point. It was just like the kind of music. So yeah. Alright, so alright, sorry. Try to give me a minute, guys. Give me a second. So, okay. So, getting the windows. So this dude, I don't know, I think maybe they assumed I meant something negative about the DJ, and he likes the DJ, and I was kind of like, cool, like I did end up liking the DJ, but I don't really know what was happening. Like, so we had like multiple little weird interactions like that throughout the night, where like they were talking to me, the trans dude was talking to me, saying stuff, like trying to like interact, but like there was a point, we were smoking his vape pen, and I started asking him about the cartridge, and we exchanged numbers. He was saying like, oh, you should come over, and like I think he was saying like I could get one from him or something, and then I asked like where, and I think he said North Park, and I'm thinking like that's not that close, because he seemed to be saying like, well, on your way out you can drop by, and I'm just thinking like, well, I'm gonna leave early, like I'm not gonna like come over to anybody's house, and I didn't drive, like I'm not gonna like Uber to somebody's house. I don't know, like I didn't really understand what was happening in that interaction, but I was like, cool, like I gave him my number, because I'm like, we see each other enough, probably like every other month by this point we've probably seen each other, so I'm not really too opposed, and they've been nice, and they weren't annoying. I get this thing, so I noticed kind of something that happens sometimes with trans dudes and non-straight women that are like me. I think sometimes they like to be kind of playful and like kind of bro-y together, and it's like a little bit like, I think that's what was happening, like kind of like, like we're bros and like just kind of like teasing each other and stuff, versus like actually having some kind of communication and conversation that made sense. Like it was kind of like how like kind of how guys, like when they're teens maybe, or maybe early 20s, how they kind of just like playfully just kind of like mess with each other, kind of like that. So I was kind of getting that vibe of like, okay, you're kind of treating me real bro like, and I wasn't like offended by it. It's just kind of like, you never know. It's like, you never know. Is like, I don't think they were flirting with me. It wasn't like in a sensual kind of way, but it was like, it's kind of interesting when it happens, because it's like, okay, like, you never know what a person is gonna think. It's like, you go into a gay bar, you don't know who's interested in who, or who's interested in what, who might be interested in you. And so, and I'm not saying I'm like, oh, people are interested in me like that all the time or whatever. I'm just saying, like, you never really know, like, what's happening. And this dude's got a girlfriend. Like, I don't think he was like hitting on me. So I wasn't like defaulting to like, oh, I think he's hitting on me. Like, he was just being like playful, but it wasn't like, it was innocent. It was fun, but it was kind of like, I wasn't expecting that. I didn't really know what to do or say, so I kind of was like, we had some moments, but I'm like, I don't know, is he gonna remember this? Is he like, a little blacked out, or is this like, okay, we can see each other on another day and we'll be like, oh, remember that time, and how we were at that club that night or whatever. Like, I don't know if it's gonna become one of those situations or not. So I guess I'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that's just kind of what yeah. Kind of what I've been noticing. Sorry guys, somebody came and parked right next to me with their windows open, so now I feel weird. I'm just gonna turn on the air. Sorry, I feel weird talking about this kind of stuff with my windows open. So yeah, me and this trans dude are kind of like a little bit back and forth. He kind of keeps coming over. At one point, he starts trying to like back it up into me, and I'm just kind of like, what, like. So I think another one of my friends caught me kind of like, I just kind of stepped out of the way kind of casually, and it was just kind of funny. I think my other friend was kind of like across, like laughing, just kind of like, because I do stuff like that. I just kind of do like silly little things, and so I think they thought it was like, how was I gonna take that kind of situation, and I kind of just didn't let it happen. Basically, I was just kind of like, oh shoot, like this is weird for me. So I just kind of stepped over to the side, so that when they were coming back, they didn't, I knew they weren't gonna fall or anything, but I was just like, that was kind of my way of being like, nope. And then they didn't like keep continuing, so I didn't really find any problem with it. And then, so when we're in the other room, when the other DJ comes on, like it went from hip hop to like EDM, kind of like a form of hip hop, R&B to like EDM. And so then the DJs start like, okay, like there's gonna be this new DJ, coming on, and like just talking about kind of like, thanks for letting us come here for Black Pride, and like the reason they were there and why it was such a special occasion, and an event for them to be invited to come over and everything, and how they felt about Riches and all, that space, and like how there aren't a lot of R&B or hip hop spaces in San Diego, especially for LGBT people who might like that kind of music. And a lot of people like that kind of music. It doesn't matter if you're black or not black. Like I've noticed when I go into like they used to have this ladies' night on Thursday nights, and I know whenever I would go into Riches on those nights way back, everyone was in the hip hop room for the most part. Hardly anybody was in the EDM room, and it wasn't majority black people either. So they play some Latin music on occasion too, like a little reggaeton and other kind of stuff. A lot of like Elvis Crespo and musicians like that. And so yeah, after I made that comment about not knowing if I liked a DJ, and then I realized, we're the only people in here almost. Like, there was one other lady kind of vibing by herself. There were maybe like 2 other people, maybe 3. They left. And then everyone's in the other room with the hip-hop music. And then, it was just mostly, at one point, it was the bartender, us, and maybe that one other lady. And so we all start kind of like dancing with each other because we're all friends. I think maybe that lady left, or I don't even remember. But I think maybe she left. And we were just kind of there dancing just with our crew, and it was fun. And so we just kept dancing and dancing. And then once the music shifted from like EDM to like Latin music, you know, a lot of my friends are Latino, so they were just like busting out some moves and stuff. And so that's the point where this androgynous type of person, kind of like, you know, they put out their hand, kind of like, hey, you want to dance, kind of thing. And at the same time, I noticed the trans guy kind of was doing the same thing to me, like kind of like putting out a hand. And then I was like, okay, like, I told the trans guy just kind of like casually, like, hey, like, I'm not, I was like, dude, I'm stoned, I'm so stoned. And then they kind of just were like, alright. And then I told the other person the same thing. I was like, they're like, I'm kind of just staying in one spot because I'm really stoned. And the the interesting thing was, though, from the time that I saw this person when they walked in, because remember how I said that like I didn't really say hi or anything. Like the reason why I kind of didn't say anything, it was because I get kind of shy when I find people like attractive, and I was like, okay, like I was kind of looking, I was like, damn, and then they didn't come say hi to me necessarily, so I kind of just didn't say hi to them. And then they started a conversation with someone, so kind of the window just kind of like, I didn't want to interrupt or go over and be like that assertive. Like I was kind of like, I'm really not that assertive, like, or comfortable being that assertive. Like if I kind of miss that little window, I'm probably not gonna introduce myself, but I'll try to be friendly, kind of thing. And so I just was hoping, like with the dancing kind of gesture, that they were cool, that they seemed cool, that we kind of like introduced ourselves and stuff. And I was like, I kind of wanted to say some nice things, but I was like, I feel like that might be too far to be like, I really like your haircut, I think it's really cool, kind of thing. I'm like, I'm such a dork, but like I do, like I'm still thinking about it. I'm like, damn, they had a really cool haircut, like kind of a cute looking person. And I saw them on Instagram because some of my other friends, like they had a game the next day, so I saw that they had all taken pictures. But I'm like, I think this person hadn't been tagged in the photos, so I might be doing a little bit of Instagram stalking to see if some of the people tagged were this person. I don't really know, but I'm like, dang, So I don't know. Like, just for me, I'm pretty shy when I'm like, I'm just pretty shy in general. And I didn't know how I was gonna feel about a person trying to kind of come up to me or whatever. Like I didn't really feel like I didn't really know how to feel. Like I didn't know how I was gonna feel. So like it wasn't like a bad experience, but some reason last night I was in my head about it, and I was like, why am I thinking about this? Because that's exactly what happened in the situation. I don't think they felt offended by me. Like after that, situation, we all went to the other room, I think in the hip hop room or something, and we're back vibing with that music, and I was still just standing in one place just vibing, and people were talking to me. There were some people talking to me, and they were like, chatting with me and talking, and we were kind of like, we were just talking. I don't know. They were kind of just saying like, oh, you look so relaxed, you're so chill, and like, I was like, yeah, I get that a lot. Like people say that a lot. And yeah, one of the people that was like right next to me just not kept on, like they weren't like talking like incessantly, but they kept kind of like saying stuff, like asking me where I'm from, and like starting conversation and stuff like that. And I was like, oh, cool. Like, I kind of like talking to them, but yeah, like it was cool. It was cool meeting people, but it was like there was a point where I wasn't like going out of my way to talk to the people I didn't really know, like, but they were kind of talking to me, so I did get to know some of the people that I hadn't met up until this weekend, just a little bit. Like, it's for me, it's really hard to get to know people in a club. It's like, yeah, there's the patios and stuff, but it's still loud, it's noisy, and I feel like it's not like an intimate setting, at least not a very intimate setting. And so it's like, yeah, because the setting's not that intimate, and it's like I feel like I'm like talking loud, and it's like, I might want to talk about maybe like more personal topics, and I don't want to be like screaming over the DJ, with everybody having to hear what I'm saying. Because that happened to me once. Like, I was talking to one of my friends about some lady that I liked, and then my other friends kind of chimed in and started listening and overheard the conversation, and they were supportive, but then they kept asking me to like bring her around and stuff, and I was like, I think they didn't really understand what was happening in the situation. Like, they thought I was maybe like dating or something, and I wasn't really, but I think like, I was kind of like talking to my friend about it, so yeah, so basically, yeah, that happened. And then yeah, I just kind of, I don't I don't know, I don't think I shut down or anything, but like, um yeah, it's not like super easy. It's not like super easy to be like, having these experiences, because it's like, I wasn't sure. I guess Sunday, I was kind of like, did I feel some kind of way about like the gender dynamics with someone who's kind of more on the mask end, kind of, asking me to play more of a female role with like Latin dancing, because they were likely going to have to leave, because clearly I don't know what I'm doing, and like, I don't really know how to do that kind of dancing too much. And I was literally so stoned. There's no way I was going to like try and even like mimic somebody's moves if they're like telling me what to do or whatever. There's no way I was going to be able to figure that one out. So I didn't really see them as like, I don't know, I don't think they were like I don't know if I felt some kind of way about the gender dynamics of things. Maybe I did. I thought Sunday that I did, because I was kind of like, well, you're gonna ask me to dance. Like, usually if like a dude asks a female to dance and the guy is leading, and I'm just thinking like, first of all, I don't know this style of music, and then they're asking me to dance, and then I wouldn't be the one leading, they would be the one leading, and then I'm already shy and not comfortable at, it comes and goes. Like, sometimes I like to dance with people, like with like people, even if I don't know them. So there are some times where it's like, when certain people aren't around, I've noticed I'm a lot more comfortable and confident with some people than others. Like, maybe I'm more shy with some people, some of my friends. And so there are some friends that, like, if we go to a club, I will dance a lot more heavily versus just like swaying to the music kind of. But yeah, usually I'm a little self-conscious, so I won't. But yeah, there are times when I will. And so it's like, it really just depends on the setting, on my mood, on the people I'm with. I don't really know. But yeah, I kind of felt about it, I kind of felt a little like I didn't really know how to really process that situation. Like, it was kind of like, it was fun. I was having fun with this trans dude. We're kind of just like back and forth, kind of like a little bit of playfulness, and then, this person that I found attractive was kind of like trying to interact, and I was like, cool. At least we introduced ourselves. I didn't really hear what they said for their name, but I think I'll probably be able to figure that out. But yeah, I felt a little, I just felt like weird about it, like, because I was like, okay, like that isn't something that normally comes up for me. Maybe it is something that comes up, because I think there was somebody that I've gone out with before that, there were a lot of gender roles, like where they would always like offer to pay for my stuff, and even if I offered to pay, they kind of like insisted, and they would always try to like offer, like pretty much every time we went out, they would pay for everything for the most part. So I was just a little bit like that's okay, that's okay. Like it's okay to if they're really gonna insist, like what am I gonna do, and they were cool, like we got along really good, but it was like, it was little stuff like that, like the paying for stuff, and the sometimes when we would do things, like there would just be some assumptions, like like certain tasks, like at a beach day or something, it's like they didn't want me to dig out the fire pit. They would rather have me clean off the grill or the hot plate to get ready to like cook the food, versus like them, like they wanted to do the like manual labor. And I'm just thinking like, bro, we're at the beach, we're at the beach, like, like we don't even live together or anything like that, but it's like, just kind of that kind of thing. But and then I remember like, they used to carry my stuff a lot too, because I used to carry a guitar and my backpack and stuff like that at school, and then they would carry my guitar for me. But I'm also kind of like, okay, that's like courteous and nice, but at the same time, I'm like, it didn't weigh that much, I can carry it myself, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, I wasn't expecting that from anybody. So and not even like I don't feel like I'm worthy kind of thing, but it was more like, I'm pretty independent with a lot of things. I don't really do a lot of like, there's stuff about cars, where it's like, if I need to change a tire, or like top off some oil or whatever, I'm not gonna like look for a guy to go do it. I'll look on YouTube and see how to do it, and if it's easy enough to try to do where I think I'm not going to screw anything up, I'll try to do it myself. Like I don't really, do the whole like, oh, like, I'm a woman, so I can't work on my car or work on my computers, or, clean the car or fix stuff on my car or whatever, like, or do manual labor, like, or do domestic, kind of stuff, like household stuff. Like I'm not really the neatest, cleanest of people, so when it comes to all the cleaning kind of roles, like I'm probably not going to be the one, like I'll clean my bathroom, I'll clean stuff, but it's like I could do better at it. Like I'm supposed to be cleaning on Thursdays, and I don't really always do it. But the other day I did dust off like a lot of my room, and I think I cleaned the floors. I can't remember. I kind of just brushed off the floors, I guess. I don't think I like actually like have Swiffered them for a while. But there's some stuff like that where I'm like, okay, maybe this week I kind of really need to clean up my stuff, but because it's been a while. It's been like probably like 3 weeks. I probably haven't cleaned my bathroom in about 3 weeks, maybe 4, which is not that clean, but Um, yeah, I was a little bit surprised by this situation, I guess. Just because of how I felt about it, I was kind of like surprised that I felt the way I did. And then when it comes to kind of like how I was feeling, like yeah, when it comes to like how I like, yeah, I think that's most of what I wanted to talk about. Just kind of like how I felt about the gender stuff, because there was like a lot of gender stuff going on that I just kind of like didn't know how to address. Like, it's just like, maybe it's not that big a deal, but sometimes it kind of is, you know? It's like, I don't know, like, it's kind of just something that's like in my mind. I'm like, I'm not comfortable with this, and I can't tell. I think sometimes I'm not comfortable with things for like gendered kind of reasons. So maybe like gendered like social norms and comfort or discomfort. So I don't know, like, I'm gonna see if I can think about more stuff about this, because I can't really tell if it was like a gender thing or if it was more like, you know, I'm already shy and I'm around these friends and kind of, you know, I wouldn't have been comfortable dancing with anybody, male, female, anybody. But sometimes I do go and dance depending who I'm with. You know, if I'm with another friend, I'll go out and dance and I'll meet people. And if like some lady wants to dance or anybody wants to dance, I'll usually dance with them. Maybe it's the ones where it's like you're kind of holding hands kind of dancing. I kind of maybe don't like that as much. But there was a different time at I think it was at Vegas Pride, where we were in a club and kind of watching the end of a drag show, and there was like a Latinx performer who I think was from Long Beach, but I can't recall. Or at least they had a, I think they said they were from Long Beach. I can't recall, but yeah, like this tall, beautiful human came in the room, looked like very masculine, but looked like they were probably assigned female at birth. Just kind of the way, just like the way they were, maybe assume that they were assigned female at birth. Like, just kind of how they were when we were talking a little bit. And I thought that they were kind of cute, and they started like dancing and with me, and we were dancing like really super close, and I was kind of like surprised by it, but I liked it, of course. But I felt kind of weird because my friend was like right there, and I was kind of like, bro, like, go somewhere else, you know. But I would have liked to, you know, continue to try to interact with that person. But I don't know, like, also it was maybe the people I was with, because the person I was with wasn't, I don't know, I just felt different about it. I felt different about a situation like that when I was with that person versus when I'm with some other friends. And it's not like they do anything wrong, like they don't do anything to make me feel like self-conscious or whatever. I'm just, some people I'm more outgoing around, and other people I'm not as outgoing around. And or maybe it takes a while for me to be more outgoing around certain people. But it's just kind of how it is. Like, I don't know. But yeah, I was pretty surprised by how everything kind of felt. I liked this person, this person that I saw at the club, and there's another person that I liked too. At Vegas Pride before. So yeah, like I don't know, like I've noticed maybe like Latinx culture is kind of more friendly, because I've noticed, now that I'm thinking of it, I've noticed almost every time I've been approached by somebody who just like opened a conversation, it was a Latinx person in a gay bar. But also San Diego. And so it's kind of like there is a large population, but I feel like not I don't know, like maybe it's the larger population. I don't really know, honestly. But yeah, there were Latinx people. And they were there. So, it was cool, but like, yeah, I'm starting to think, the last lady that kind of felt me up in a club, she was Latina. It was, yeah, there were just some Latinx people kind of like around, so, yeah, I was kind of like around doing my own thing. But yeah, like, I don't know, that's something to kind of think about, I guess. Because I guess I do meet a lot of Latinx people. When I'm starting to think of it, I'm like, that's probably the majority of culture of people that I have met in the last maybe 3 years or so. Almost every new person, with the exception of maybe 2 people, were Latinx people, I think. I'm pretty sure about that. So, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if I thought about that, because I know culturally, some cultures, can have a lot of, kind of like gender norms and expectations, and I kind of, don't really know how I feel about all those norms. Like, I was raised, African culture has that too. Like, a lot of African cultures have that too. Like, I think there are a lot of minority cultures that kind of have that, that kind of, outlook of, hold on, I need to get some air in here. So, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, so, sorry. Alright, so, yeah, I'm trying not to keep the car on too long, because I don't want to, like, drain the battery with the AC. But, yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. It's, a lot to kind of make sense of. Like, I don't know if I was, like, worried, but I was kind of, like, trying to make sense of it for a couple days. Just kind of like, why did I feel weird? Because there was really no reason to feel, like, strange about it. Like, I was amongst friends. Like, we all get along. Like, nobody would have let anything happen to me. Like, and I didn't feel threatened by any of these people. But, being under the influence of something kind of doesn't really help that much too sometimes. But, yeah. So, I do have some other experiences I want to talk about, but it's like I'm just kind of getting tired. I gotta get on and get lunch eventually, so get home and get lunch. So, alright, with that, thanks for listening.